These are the final 3 laps of the B race of the Tuesday night crit. My third time to race this year in the crits. My team, Pack, and just in a moment, our sponsors. So far, I haven't really done very much work in this race, and we'll see this from the exert layout. That blue line at the top is my maximum power available. When that dips, that means I put in a hard effort. You can see that there were some above threshold efforts that made that blue line go down in the first half of the race, but in the second half of the race it's calmed down quite a bit. And primarily I'm just sitting in, so you can see Ryan there go into the grass for a moment to avoid contact with his front wheel. It's a reminder to always protect your front wheel. Um, I'll post up a fuller version of this video. So I started with rear view, and then about halfway through the race, I turned on the front camera because I don't have enough battery life to record both the B race and the A race if I do the whole thing on both. So I'll post that up later. That'll be in the description. And anyway, in an earlier section of the race, there was one very close, almost crashed because of overlapped wheels and a sudden movement of a rider in front. So you got to be really careful. There were a few sketchy moments in this race of people, almost going down. So I guess when you're really in the race mode, you just, you register it for a moment, like, oh, right there, they did a good job avoiding each other. But you can see that if you were overlapped, and if I was overlapped with the rider in front of me, I could have easily gone down. So when you're in the race mode, you have these moments where you're like, oh, I almost just died, but I didn't, so keep going. And anyway, so I'm on the wheel of Ryan here, and Ryan is the best sprinter. Well, in my mind, he's the best sprinter in this group. The guy, well, I won't flash forward to what actually happens in the end. But anyway, I'm focused on staying kind of on his wheel because for a couple of reasons. One reason is I can learn from what he's doing and how he's handling pack position. And frankly, at the end, at the sprint, I want to be on his wheel. Now, it's also his teammate is thinking the same thing, and they're in the orange bike. So I've lost position there, or I'm no longer on Ryan's wheel. And we had been, I think, battling for a lap or so. And see, again, guys a little close to each other there, having to go into the grass. Number of flat tires on this race as well. So here we are in this penultimate lap. And of course, tucking in, it's a pretty windy day today. About, I don't know, I think the forecast was like 16 miles an hour from the south. So as we're turning left here, we're actually going into the wind. Of course, typically it's slowing down a little bit here as the guys in the front don't hammer as hard going into the wind. It's surprising that a breakaway didn't get away today. It's just there were so many people. There were attempts. People were just willing to chase it down. There was a breakaway that won the previous week in the B race, and it was just this time people weren't willing to let those things go and were chasing it down. I had a half-hearted attempt to initiate a breakaway, but I didn't go all in, and nothing happened with that. It was just me pulling on the front. So there goes Clint on the left, taking a little bit of an early flyer, upping the pace of the group as we turn into the crosswind here. A little bit of a tailwind, actually, as we veer left. And as we go through this S-curve, it can always be a little bit sketchy as people's lines change as they go first left and then right. Of course, in crit races, as we are approaching what is probably going to be a sprint finish, your position is super important. Again, I'm losing positions because I don't know. I just don't like to push it in terms of getting too close, and sometimes I'll just give up positions just to avoid sketch. But you can see I'm not really in a very good position here. Look how far back I am, all these guys in front of me, and I'm definitely thinking that this is a problem and an issue going into the final lap. You don't want to be this far back. If this was like an A race, I'd already be done. Barring something, I'd already be in a position of trouble. And here I am on my teammates' wheel. So these guys with Pack, of course, on their jerseys are my teammates. And I have two teammates here in front of me. And at this point, I'm actually telling Lynn right in front of me, like, hey, Lynn, take me to the front. I don't know if he heard me. He didn't respond or say anything. But anyway, it turned out to be unnecessary. But this would have been kind of, especially turning into the headwind, it would have been an ideal thing for me to be able to get a free ride. It wasn't necessary because the group slowed down so much that I could just coast to near the front, and I'm no longer, like 70 yards back from the front. So Ryan, the guy that I've been marking and thinking about, he's on the far right there, so I'm not close to him. There's a moment upcoming here where I have to decide whether I'm following Ryan or whether I'm gonna take veer to the left. As you can see, guys are trying to move up. It's the last lap. I'm really worried at this point that it's going to be complete sketch and chaos as we're just all way too close together, and it's dangerous. So what we need is somebody to attack and to really uh, get it spaced out and get it safer. Um, and so we had one flyer up there on the right, and now we're starting to go a little faster. So the moment I had to think about going with Ryan, I decided not to. I said there's more space here to the left. I can move up better to the left, and you can see that Ryan in the rear view is quite a bit behind me. So there's going to be so there goes Clint. Now Clint is a diesel. He's not a sprinter. So he wants to do an early attack and try to see if he can ride away from people if they don't respond. Um, Here's the moment where I lost the race. Is this guy going up the right? Um, he bridges up to Clint. I decide to stay on the wheel in front of me to conserve energy and play my chances there. I don't know if I would have been able to stay on the wheel of to catch up to those guys, follow that attack, but that was a very nicely timed attack by the winner of the race. So I'm on the wheel here. This time I'm thinking Ryan's probably on my wheel. He's a stronger sprinter than me, and that's got me a little bit worried, but I have no idea what's going on behind me. I'm conserving my energy on this wheel. I don't know if this was a great move here to veer to the right that early. Maybe I should have waited a moment, but if you wait too long, it's hard to get around. So I was able to successfully get around and take second place. So second place matches the best place I've ever had in this race. I had one second place last year and I think one third place in the B race last year. Didn't meet my goal of getting first place. I mean, that's a kind of a long-term goal for me to get first place in this race, but compared to my sixth place finish last week and my almost last place finish the week before because of me going into the grass before the final sprint. This was obviously a better result in my first podium of the year. So pleased with that, pleased with the teammates helping and keeping the race together. That's important too because obviously if it wasn't together at the end, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to go for a sprint. And fun race, fun time. Nobody got hurt, nobody went down, and thanks for watching.